Thank you. You're welcome. And then you're looking at, I didn't see Joe.
Joe, we do have.
Antonio's getting me set up and we're going to be ready to roll. I saw him. Senators, if you'll please take your seats, we're going to go ahead and call our meeting to order. It's 3 o'clock and we know how these things go. So we're going to try to, and we don't have our Vice President Rashandra James who keeps me on track today. So I'm a little bit nervous. So we're going to start on time and see where we go from there. I wanted to just share a couple of remarks with you and then we'll come back to our roll call. But I want to make sure that everybody is understanding their role as a senator and your part in sharing information. I don't know why these people have half heads, but I can only imagine it's because the information is moving around in and out. And so you do not have to remove the top half of your head. But what I do want you to do is make sure that you're having conversations with your unit leadership. If there are more than one of you from your area that are senators, please work with your unit leadership to keep them in the loop on what we're doing. And just as important, hear from them things that are happening at the university. With your constituents, and that can be done in a number of ways. You'll see at the bottom I've listed social media, Teams, email, newsletter, website. There are a number of ways that you can keep in touch with your constituents, and a number of you are already doing that. And so only you know the best way to communicate with your constituents. But that's really important that you're feeding media information to them from here, from the leadership, and then probably more importantly, that you're bringing up information from your constituents up to us so that we will know what their concerns are. And then really important that you're sharing with other senators. That can happen in your committee work, which is really important, and it can happen in a lot of other ways. So Teams is the environment that I typically go to, but that doesn't mean that's the only way. So these are the things I wanted to encourage. What we know is, because we pounded it in everybody's head, this is the first year, right? We're brand new, we're just getting things figured out. But it is so important that we set a foundation for this staff senate so that it becomes something that can last long beyond any of us. And in order for us to do that, those of us that cared enough to be a part of it in the very beginning need to set that infrastructure. We need to make sure that we're doing things in a professional manner, that we're sharing information up, down, and sideways, and that we are getting these processes in place that will carry us after our terms are done. And I'll take that as one more chance to remind you that, the time will be coming up early in the spring where we will be able to have elections for our officers. Of course, Vice President James will move into the president's position, but our other positions become open. And that gives you the opportunity, if you're interested in a leadership role, to present yourself, to take advantage of that opportunity. And I would encourage any of you that have an interest to do that. There will also be opportunities to lead committees. And from what I can see, there's only growth to come in those positions. Every one of the co-chairs at some point or another has shared with me that it was a lot to bite off, and are we supposed to do all this? And so there's a lot that can't be done in 1 year, and we need all of you to be involved there. So if there's something you're thinking you might have an interest in, talk to a co-chair, talk to an exec officer, and see what that commitment looks like, and start feeling around there to get the, and I would be pretty blunt and honest with you if somebody were to ask me what it looks like to do a co-chair position or an exec officer position, because we only want to share what the truth of the position is and whether it's a good fit for you. So that was my moment to preach this morning. That's all I've got. And we're going to go back to Secretary Hudley to ask, do we have our attendance report and our parliamentarian if we've established quorum?
Yeah.
We have. Okay, they've let me know that we've established quorum. And so next we'll move into the approval of the minutes. In the interest of paper, you guys know we're posting all of these things in the Teams environment. So you have the opportunity to go there, see the agendas, see the minutes. And so is there a motion to approve the September minutes? Is there a second? We do. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Everybody loves the minutes. Thank you, Secretary Hudley. That is no easy task that this woman takes on. So thank you for doing that for us. Words matter, and she knows that. So without further ado, I'm going to move on to our guest speaker today. We are thrilled to have with us somebody who knows all about communications and half heads and how that information is shared. So if you could join us, Larry Thomas, our Vice President for Communications. Thank you.
Thank you. I often feel like I have half a head as I deal with a lot of different issues for the university. Okay, is someone else gonna run the slides for me, or do I have a magic button?
Without a clicker, so you are pushing the key at the bottom of the keyboard.
Okay.
We're old school.
Sorry. Old school. That's fine. I'm old school, so I can deal with that. So thank you. I'm glad to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. And I'll be brief. I'm happy. Let me acknowledge my reps. Nina is in the back with the garnet and bat shirt, and Margie. Hey, Margie. So they represent communications and public affairs. So, oh, okay. I didn't realize there was another. So Craig, hi. I appreciate that that everyone's here, and I appreciate your time. Just a little bit about me. I am a proud graduate of this institution a long time ago. Grew up in Taylors, South Carolina. Spent about 4.5 years here, journalism major, and then went off to served in the military, and then did 20 years of corporate America, and then decided to come back to school and learn a bit more. And then 18 months has been quite a learning experience. So I appreciate everything that that the university offers and all that you guys do. All right, so that's the wrong way. So my role is to tell the story. I have a team of right at 55 individuals that's part of the comms team here. I don't directly manage the individual comms person in your college or division. We work cooperatively on things. If we have a crisis, that's when I sort of overstep my bounds and sort of step into your college or division. So that's what I do. I also have some oversight on some of the regional campuses, comprehensive campuses. So it's quite a big job, and have a lot of assistance from the team members here in doing that job. So, let's talk a bit about what the Office of Communications and Public Affairs do. Number one, we try to protect the brand. The brand is the UofSC down at the bottom, but it's more broadly, the image and the reputation of the university and its activities. And that's a broad remit. But what we try to focus on is being consistent in how we use the brand, but also how be consistent in how we tell the university story. There are a lot of ambassadors out there who are responsible for doing that. It's not me alone, but what I try to provide and my team tries to provide is some consistency of storytelling and what we do around that. And then we support the campus communications needs. When your individual activities need some type of external communication support or internal communication support, they often turn to my team as subject matter experts to get that word out. That's so important. We try not to dominate in that space because we recognize that you are subject matter experts, but we try to provide you the best advice, the best ways to deploy the communications activities that you need. We also have a tool kit that's sort of designed to answer any questions you have about logo shirts, items of the UofSC brand and the Block C with the Gamecock and other activities that are uniform, and we try to not put it anywhere in every place that we can, and that's also important. Again, my team is to assist everyone in telling the story. We provide you the resources that's needed, and then we also will tell that story either internally or externally. I often get involved. I like to say that every day I come to work trying to think of 3 days, 5 days, a week, 3 months ahead of time. How are we going to publicize and tell the mission of this university? And that's sort of what I do. And then the people who work with me and for me are the actual technicians or the subject matter experts that every day are doing the hard work around that. And then shaping public policy is much more about, think of it when every year when we come up for a budget process or some type of legislation that we need advanced either at the local level, the state level, or the federal level. My team gets involved with others to sort of begin, as we like to say, conversations, communications, telling that story and getting it into the parlance about if we need a budget increase, beginning to tell the story of why that budget increase is so important to supporting the mission of the university. So that's really about shaping public policy. I'm not going to read all of these. These are very tactical ways that, what we do. Suffice it to say, we're a full service communications activity, but we will contract out with other external parties, videographers, PR agencies, advertising agencies, all of those types of things to ultimately tell the university story and get to what we would consider a success level for the university. So there are a lot of things listed here. I won't go into it, but generally, if it's about communications at the university level, chances are my team is involved in providing support to all the colleges and divisions within the university. I did want to point out, I pointed out the 3 folks who are here today that's part of my team, but also, and many of you will be aware of these folks. They've been here a lot longer than I am. Peggy Bennett, who's in charge of institutional communications. She's the interim AVP for that. JC Huggins, who's in charge of digital and brand. When you think of digital, all the social media, all of our web activities, things of that nature, that's the digital piece. And then the brand and advertising. We are going to do a lot more advertising. Matter of fact, the board just approved a major advertising campaign that we hope will unveil in 1Q of next year. It'll be the first time the university in recent history has actually advertised throughout South Carolina and throughout the Southeast. So we're real excited about that. And then Jeff Stensman, who's also sort of like my right-hand person, who does both the media piece and also works with some of the what we call administration and finance units, the provost, admin and finance, development, some of the other major units around the campus to meet their communications need. And collaboratively, we are the comms team here at the university. So we'd like to say we provide solutions. Sometimes you guys think we may provide problems, but it's all about trying to, as best we can, to really tell the significant story of this university and also what the professors, the students, the achievements that happen every day here. And I hope you will take the opportunity to engage us whenever you can, because one of the things when I come back, having been in corporate America for 20 years, it overwhelms me, all of the things, the good things, the great things that the university does, and we don't do a good enough job of telling that story. We get wrapped around the axis a lot of times on the bad, but there's a lot of good here, and I need your support and your help in telling those stories. So I would offer that, please feel free to give me a call. I'm an early bird. I'm normally in fairly early. So feel free to reach out to me or any member of my team to tell that story. So that's all I have. I know that
Are you willing to take questions?
I am certainly willing to take questions.
Anybody have any questions? questions? I have one.
Sure.
So on the slide with the several bullets, you mentioned that you all measure behaviors and what was it? Measure attitudes and behavior. How do you do that?
Yeah, so we do that both, and I'll point to Nina. So when we send out campus-wide emails, a lot of time we'll determine who's open the emails, and we'll try to figure out how we get better. Because if we send out an email, we think it's important, especially normally the ones that we get involved with are from the president of the university or provost or some senior officials. So we try not to litter your inbox with a whole bunch of emails. You get a lot, but they're not all from central comms. So we try to measure that, but we also will occasionally do focus groups to try to measure how we're doing better. Particularly as we do this new advertising campaign, we'll be doing focus groups all around the state to try to get to the point where we understand what the perception of the university is and how we can better inform the general public. I would think that we already do some staff. We probably could do more. Is there a particular sort of staff activity or just overall staff? Mm-hmm.
So as we were forming activities today, the Monday edition is for headlines and information that staff needs to know, and we talked about that, and that wasn't right. What we're trying to do is figure out what the right platform is, deliver them, because we want to make sure that we're reaching directly. So, and right now, we have the faculty and staff gateway. Now, all of you, and we're kind of forming that space, and we see that as a potential area for the spotlight. But if you have a suggestion about this, and also if you all have some staff members.
Thank you for being here. I was just curious to know, based off, participating even myself in different surveys that staff have had, that your team has launched over the years, what are some of those central issues that you all think or know staff have on this campus?
So I'm gonna speak from what my limited scope is for 18 months here. So I will speak to what you don't want. You don't want whole lot more email. And we try to limit that as best we can. I think one of the also key points is that you want to be informed more and in different what we call mediums or platforms. So just sending an email is not the only place that you get your information. So you get it digitally through Twitter or through our web presence. So we've got to be more complete in hitting the various points of communications, and we've got to do a better job in that. I think for staff members and for everyone, you want to know about your career and your future. So we're hoping to do a bit more of that. I will say that one of the things that has impacted us during COVID is we haven't been able to do everything we probably wanted to do as far as forward reaching, because COVID has limited interaction. And in fact, I mean, all of us have only been back on campus for like maybe 5 to 6 months just because of everyone working from home. So some of the ideal goals that we'd like to achieve have been sidetracked because of COVID. That's only one excuse, but I think you'll see a lot more of trying to get around career information, health things, the full gamut as we exercise the various platforms and mediums that we have.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate your work.
Thank you. Good luck.
I'd say the work that communications is doing for the university is probably more important now than ever. We've had a series of some bumps in the road and a series of things. Look, I'm playing music to go with it. I don't even know what that was. Sorry. It's a moment. We've had a series of bumps in the road, and so that work of highlighting the positive is more important now than ever. So wouldn't it be cool if all of you went back and took Nina up on her offer to have you send her some good news and some powerful information about the really cool staff on this campus, including if that staff member happens to be you, because I happen to have a room full of you that are pretty amazing. So let's help them do their jobs. Next thing we will do is have a report from our officer, and Senator Leslie will let you do that. You want to stand up here? Okay. Yep.
Shelley, the arrow.
Yep. Okay. Near the left and right. Okay. Good afternoon.
So with the formation of the inaugural Staff Senate, the Executive Committee sought to put initiatives in place that will sustain current and future initiatives. And President Dempsey said that earlier. With these efforts, the development of a budget was important to establish. Per advice from our executive sponsors, the Staff Senate Executive Committee was strongly encouraged to make the ask for future needs, not just where we were, but future initiatives as well. So in doing so, the treasurer, me, began researching and identifying needs with support from our executive committee and our executive sponsors. And in January, we proposed a budget development presentation that expressed these items that kind of mirrored the Faculty Senate's budget, to include lines for an administrative assistant, a foundation account, and a potential scholarship. I mentioned that shortly at the orientation with Joe Fortune for that committee to consider as well, and a stipend for the president's role. These line items are also consistent with other universities' staff senates. We did some research. The staff senate had a huge win. They granted us a $35,000 recurring budget. And that was great because our initial ask wasn't as much. So we're excited about that.
We were told to go big, and we thought we did, and they went bigger.
Right. So we're really grateful for that. Once the budgeted amount was approved, the executive committee started moving forward with budget execution. So I just wanted to give you kind of a background of how we landed where we are now. So, budget report. We're still working with the Faculty Senate and the Provost's office for a shared responsibility administrative assistant. And we're actively working on that. You know, of course, we have to go through the HR process, et cetera, to get that position description reviewed, processed, and approved for solicitation. We submitted HR paperwork to establish the president's stipend, and that president's stipend will follow the role of the president. Whatever president's, like Shelley mentioned, we have elections coming up again. It will follow the role of the president. And then we established a foundation account via the Office of the Provost Department for Staff Senate, where staff can make contributions to support Staff Senate requests to support university staff. How wonderful is that? And I wanted you to see what that account number is. So you can jot that down, Joe. We'll be talking soon. So we wanted to give this update on the report, the budget, and we have done some updates based on these recommendations and the executive committee's approval to move forward. And I'm just showing you a screenshot here. That's the first half of the budget and the second half. And you'll see at the bottom, there's a note here. And let's see if I can move this so you can see the note. Oh, sorry, I went back. Well, I'll read it to you. So the note just says the executive committee voted to reallocate what we had in the contingency budget. And you can see there was $3,386 there. So we voted to reallocate that contingency budget based on a request at orientation for line item monies to be available for committees. And this will be available for the standing committees for this fiscal year. This is just an allocation of our budget. You can see the largest is in personnel services because the allocation we have set aside for the administrative assistant is $25,000 of our $35,000 recurring budget. So budget development for fiscal year 23, as our VP Thomas just said, they're thinking 3 months ahead. We're thinking a fiscal year ahead. So the Staff Senate has a recurring operating budget of $35,000 that's funded by the support unit allocations. We have an internal budget request procedure that we're working on that will align with our mission and our vision, and that is being developed right now. We hope to have that to you soon. The planned timeline for budget development, and this is what the plan or the process will outline. Starting March 22, requests for solicitations will be made so you can make direct requests to be considered for the fiscal year 23 budget. A draft budget developed in May 2022 for review by the executive committee. And then in June, we hope to present that proposed budget for your review and approval. That completes my report. Are there any questions? Yes.
So we are partially funding the salary for that.
Correct. We are funding $25,000 of that person's salary, and we're still working on that, but it will be a shared FTE. And we're going to use the existing person the incumbent that's in that position to help with those administrative support efforts. Yes.
For that position, are we going to have to pay them for part of our budget, or is it?
So that will be a part of the conversation, and so we're negotiating that right now with Faculty Senate. And we will keep you posted because we want to ensure that we're being as transparent as possible.
And we've had a generous offer from another area to offer a space to put the person, and so folks have really come together to offer that support. Do you want to share a little bit about what DOIT is offering?
Oh, yes, I think so. Because we're always looking for in-kind support, as we mentioned at the orientation. So we so graciously reached out to Mr. Foster, the CIO of the Division of Information Technology, and we asked him if it was possible to give us a long-standing technology support for the Staff Senate. And he so graciously agreed, and we're excited, and we thank him so much. And so we're working with his AV and Media Services team, and we got 2 senators in here, Barry Duvall and Antonio Peterson, and some others from the Division of Information Technology. But as roles change, we will always have that support from Division of Information Technology. So to help us navigate our meeting platforms, we will have that support that we need in helping set up Teams environments, even if we decide to go with a different platform like Blackboard or anything new that comes on the horizon that will support our virtual needs and our face-to-face meetings as well. So I think that's great. And again, Mr. Foster, Doug Foster, we thank you so much for that in-kind support. So we're out there asking for support. And we also believe that establishing that foundation account will give staff the ability to make contributions, and they know that those contributions will go back to support staff. So we're excited about that. Are there any other questions? If not, that completes my report. Thank you.
Senator Leslie has done so much behind the scenes work for us on this budget. Lena and Angela knew what they were doing when they picked her for this position, because a lot of times I have no idea what she's talking about, but she's really good and she knows good stuff, and she's really helping to get that foundation that we keep mentioning set, because what we would never want to happen is for a staff senate to be based on a person or that person's position or role at the university. We want to make sure that we have the ability to continue and that we're built into all the areas of the university. And so this work is certainly something that will do that. And I don't know if you caught what she said, but there is money for committees. So if your committee has something they want to do during this fiscal year, we are working on a process. She is working on a process by which you can submit your request. But if that's something that you need quicker than that, certainly reach out to us and we can let you know, because we do have the funding for that to be able to put some things into place. All right, so we will move along now to our committee reports, starting with membership, please. Okay. Next, communications will actually be done, I'm told, by Senator Watts. Can you throw the puck? There you go. Stuck or... You want to just do it from here? This looks like a lovely spot for you to come and present from. There you go.
So forgive me for the paper, but it's only one page. Most of you, I think, took the communications survey that we sent out last month, maybe. And we wanted to give y'all a quick summary of what those results said. So I won't go through every bullet, but I listed some of the key statistics from the quantitative questions and then a few of the qualitative remarks. Kind of the overwhelming majority of you are looking for a formal communication mechanism from our committee rather than having to rely on whatever makeshift email lists and distribution lists you put together. So that is really our main goal moving forward. We want to continue working with the other committees, of course, and addressing your needs, but we've dedicated our next meeting to really kind of a working meeting to get together a template and flesh out the beginning of a newsletter. We're fortunate to have Craig Brandhurst on our committee who works in central communications. He's got kind of a leg up for us. If you do have any feedback or input on what you would like to see there, formatting, just anything that comes to mind, please hop on our channel or send us an email and let us know. But we will have some updates for you moving forward about frequency, content, what it's going to look like, just sort of how we plan to communicate on behalf of Staff Senate to the university.
Thank you. All right, next up, professional development. Okay. Community projects.
Policy.
It's good to hear. A quick update. I thought Senator Hilson was going to be here. She was actually delivering the report, but I'm happy to step in and give a brief update. And it goes well with Vice President Thomas' message to us today in terms of what we're trying to do in terms of Gamecock Pantry and giving back. And so we are trying to tell the story, and we've reached out. Senator Hull, Brian Hull, has actually reached out to the communications team to actually get some help with us in telling the story of why it is important for us to kind of wrap our arms around the Gamecock Pantry and all the good work they do for students and staff. And so we are, again, working with them to kind of roll that out in terms of telling the story, developing a brand / logo to go with that, and some other things. And so there's a lot of work going on there. And coming soon, there should be an inventory of what is going on around the campus. And so Senator Hilson is still working on to get that inventory audit out to this group so that we have a comprehensive list of what's going on in each department. So thank you.
Thank you. Bylaws.
Staff policy. For that. Staff policy, we skip that one.
Oh, Staff policy and well-being. I'm so sorry. I'm your liaison.
We have
I'm
no.
sorry, my head was open. It flew out. Thank you. I'm so sorry. Okay. And then lastly, we have our ad hoc committee on the staff breakfast. So Angela, you want to?
Good afternoon. We haven't met yet. I was also in the week for coverage, but we have been tasked to help plan the what we usually have annual MLK breakfast every year. And so I'm going to be working with Senator Sims, Senator State Hall with that. And if anyone else like volunteers, it's going to take a lot of us to get this up and running and get it started. That would be great. We are partnering with the DEI, Department Julie and his staff to get this up for January. And it doesn't have to be what we usually do every year, but I think that always works. I really like the breakfast piece, but we are willing to explore any other ideas that we may have regarding that. They are going to be funding this breakfast, so we just have to organize it and get it set up. So anyway, if anyone would like to help us with that and planning, please let me know. We'll also be reaching out to other people, other staff across the university that could probably help the day of. We don't want a whole lot of people, 15 people on the committee to plan it, but however, we will need people to help out on the actual day of the event, whatever we decide to do. That's all that I have right now, and I'll be reaching out to Senator Faye Hall and Senator Sims before I leave work today. And email so we can go ahead and get started with planning that event. If anyone has any questions, I want to volunteer right now.
Is this going to be tied with the social justice?
That's correct.
Okay.
The work that's going to be a part of it as well.
And the speaker, are we charged with getting the speaker?
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So we're part of planning the whole event, like I said, doesn't have to be the breakfast that we've done in the past. They open up, we can do it however we want to do it. So, like I said, I like the breakfast with everybody. Seems like everybody will be doing it a time, but we can talk more about that later in the That's all.
Thank you. We're excited about that opportunity. I'll repeat it for those that are out in the land and couldn't hear. But the staff, that's okay. Staff Senate is going to be assisting with the staff breakfast that is usually held every year in conjunction with our MLK events. And so we're excited to be a part of that and partnering with DEI on that. If any of the senators are interested in being on the committee, or if there are any staff in general, not necessarily senators, who are really interested in getting involved, if they could get in touch with Staff Senate and we can direct you where to go. But that's going to be a fun opportunity for us to welcome folks and be present as members of the Staff Senate. All right, so now we're moving on to some business. Our first order of business is a bylaws change, and it was previously presented at the September meeting. You may remember, so this is the second reading. And so I'm going to share with our parliamentarian, Senator Lusk.
So thank you, everyone. This was the previous bylaw change that was unanimously approved by the bylaws committee that just added clarification that if we have an emergency meeting or a special meeting, that could occur in person or virtual. So it's just adding that language into the bylaws. So happy to take any questions if anyone has a question on that. If not, I would move approval. Second.
All in favor? That's my part.
Yeah.
Sorry. All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. All right. Next up, we've got new business. And we've got Senator Priscilla Ramsey will come up so that we can hear her to talk about the History Commission. And she's on the implementation committee for that.
Hello, everyone. So in fall of 2019, the President's Commission on University History was charged with carefully examining the history of our university, especially with respect to experiences of groups and communities who have been neglected or left out entirely from prior historical accounts. As part of this initiative, they did some research and they presented a report on July 16th that was shared. The report's recommendations included increased funding for research and scholarship, a comprehensive communications initiative across our digital platforms, the development of educational activities such as walking and virtual tours, and the addition of context to the building names that exist today through educational signage, audio, and other displays. As a result of this report, the University History Commission Implementation Group was established, which I am a part of. We're in the very preliminary stages. We've met a few times, and we have been charged by the president to develop an action plan with clear options and recommendations for education and research. With focus on how to communicate the plan, we would have to develop an action plan for education, research, and recommend considerations for names for the future buildings. We're in the process of kind of looking at exploring options and how do we make that happen, because there's a Heritage Act that we need to consider, and there's other challenges or considerations that we need to take. So we're currently working on them and exploring them. I just want to mention that the chair of our committee is Joel Samuels, Dean Samuels, and the co-chair is trustee Alex English. So I'm excited, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to incorporate and ingrain and embed in our university culture, our rich history that we have. And so I'm looking forward to the outcome of, the work that we do. That's all I have.
Any questions about this? This is important work, and we're thrilled to have you represent us. Thank you. All right, next up, we have an update from our liaison to the President's Search Committee. And so excited to have Lauren Smith with us again. She's always so welcome to, she's always so willing to come and open to our input. So thank you, Lauren.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me, Shelley, as always. So I'm here to give a brief update on the progress of the presidential search, and I do not have COVID, I just have a cold, so forgive the hoarseness of my voice. So the search committee is really coming together, things are moving along. Our next meeting is scheduled for November 5th, and the notice and agenda of that meeting will be posted for that meeting in advance. We are still in the active recruitment stage of the search process. Funk & Associates is working diligently to seek nominations and to target ideal candidates who meet the leadership profile. I was wondering, can I pull up the leadership profile here, or will people virtually be able to see it?
Can she pull up the profile from here?
Okay, and people, okay. Well,
Qualified, that should be.
Let's see here. I'm just gonna see if y'all can see this. So this is important. The reason that I want to show this to you is because this is how the committee is really deciding which candidates to bring in for interviews. It's really going to be based on this leadership profile that was developed based off of the feedback we received from the community, from the stakeholders who submitted what they want to see in a president. So I really encourage you to go through this, read it, and it will give you a good sense of what's really going to be happening and what the search committee is looking for in this process. That is available just on the search committee website if people online aren't able to see it. So Funk & Associates, they are seeking nominations and they are targeting ideal candidates who meet this leadership profile. They are staying in regular touch with the search committee to let us know what's going on, people who are applying, that sort of thing. The recruitment stage is expected to continue into the month of November. Review of candidate applications and interviews will begin in short order. Interviews will take place in person, but confidentiality will remain of utmost importance during this portion of the interview process. Candidates for president have a lot at stake if it were revealed to their current employers that they are interviewing, so there will be no information about candidates released at this stage. During the interview process, stakeholder input and survey responses will be used to formulate interview questions to ensure that campus and community concerns are being considered. Once the search committee determines that there are at least 3 fully qualified candidates that meet the qualifications listed in this leadership profile, the finalist names will be provided to the Board of Trustees. But as Committee Chair Westbrook always emphasizes during his outreach, the timeline for this search does remain fluid. While I certainly know, and the rest of the search committee definitely knows how important it is for the university to find a new president soon. I know we're all waiting on that. We really wanted a new president despite President Pasti's wonderful job as interim. It's more important that the right candidate be found. So the search will continue until the committee is certain that they have found finalists who will be fully successful as the next university president. That's my update.
Was that a question? Oh, sorry. Any questions?
Okay. Yes, Christine Shealy, Senator CIC. Do we know if President Pastee will stay on if this is a failed search?
I do not know the answer to that.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yeah. So the question is, will President Pastee stay on if this is considered a failed search? And I do not know the answer to that question. I think we're all hoping that it is not a failed search, so that we never have to find out the answer to that question.
Senator Ludwig from Athletics. I know you mentioned that the search's timeline is fluid, but I'm sure that there's some type of ideal timeline on this is what we're hoping to meet this deadline or these days. So is there a date in which we're hopeful with the final panel, 3 finalists will be revealed?
Yeah, so the question is, is there a date that we're hoping the final 3 candidates will be revealed? You know, I think that every member on the search committee might have a different idea of that. The official word is that we really hope we have a president to start by the next academic year. So what that means in terms of when candidates will be identified, I can't say for sure. Like I said, the recruitment process is happening now. The application review and interview process will start happening as soon as that active recruitment ends. And so it's just a matter of, will the candidates be qualified? Will they be what the university wants for their next president? So it really depends on that pool of candidates. So the question is there a viable applicant pool at this time? I really can't speak to the applicant pool at this time. I know that Funk & Associates is working very hard and diligently, and they have proven success. They have a proven track record in recruiting presidents, persons of color and women, diverse candidates, and I believe that they are doing a great job at this time.
All right, anybody else have any questions for Lauren while she's here? Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to move into a time of announcements or things for the good of the order. Anybody have any announcements to share from their areas? Yes. Yeah, come on over this way. This puck needs to hear you right here. Yep. Speak into the puck.
Sure. So there is an initiative that the Russell House University Union is implementing with the Office of Multicultural Student Affairs called Diversity in the Russell House University Union. And the goal is to increase visuals and history pertaining to the diverse student experience so that students can see themselves and know their value and role in shaping the culture at the university. So we wanted to share today to staff senators that an invitation to contribute any living history or content, so visuals, photos, memorabilia,
that you have that we can digitally copy for these panels that we want to put up in the Russell House. So we know that many senators have been here, that have served a long time, and you know constituents in your respective areas that you represent that have been here a long time, that we can get some memorabilia or visuals from. And so if you can connect with your your constituents and ask, we really want to bring as many diverse perspectives and activities and basically our community and bring it to life. And so if anyone's been student advisors as well, or if you were part of student organizations, kind of thinking about that. So if you have this information, feel free to connect with myself, or you can email Kim McMahon, the director of the Russell House University Union, or Dr. Shay Malone, the director of Office of Multicultural Student Affairs. We would love to have any memorabilia or visuals or anything for you for this initiative. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts? Yes. It is called Diversity in the Russell House University Union. Yes. Yeah, so if you have anything in the union, around the union, even just life, your student life or campus life, things from years prior that you're willing to share of just what, student life or activity and campus life on campus. So we will take anything and everything and sift through it. And we'll make digital copies so that we can put that in this project. Yes. Yes, I definitely will. Got it. Thank you.
Any other
all.
questions? Good job. Thanks,
Thanks.
Megan. What a fun project. I hope you'll invite us over when it's all ready and put together. All right. Anything else? Announcements or for the good of the order? All right. Can y'all please tell Rashandra what a good job I did staying on time? Rashandra, if you're out there, I did a really good job staying on time. Next meeting, write this down. We're going to be in the Russell House Theater. Say it with me. Russell House Theater. Some of you are going to come to this room. And where are we going to be? In the Russell House Theater. Okay. And that's all I've got, everybody. So we've reached the conclusion of the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn? Okay. Is there a second? All in favor, aye? Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. I almost pounded on the button. Did you see that? Make sure you sign in.